Hey everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. I know I've been a bit of a sporadic poster lately, but sometimes it be like that. I'm in a little bit of a makeshift corner today because my little black cat Huggy Bear is asleep simultaneously on my phone holder, ring light, and microphone. So rather than disturb him, as anyone with cats knows, I'm gonna let him have it. And I have a little rig going on here up against my my monitor speakers. So the angle is a little strange today, but you can see more of the room, and also this clock, which is obnoxious but good when I'm teaching. Anyway, so November, I had this dream that prompted me, because I journal every day. I talk to my my 5D kind of iteration and just check in and attune to that frequency, and I do that every day. And when I was journaling out the dream that I had, there's a point where I realize that I'm getting a message that's more than just for me, that it's for a collective, or our collective, the human collective. So I transcribed it, which is always tricky because when you are choosing to sit and channel, then you have that kind of open and it's flowing, and then I do everything longhand because it just feels better for me. It's more organic for me. I know some people can do it right at the keyboard, but no, that's not for me. So I transcribe it, and it's usually easy because it is what it is. But when it starts out as kind of a journaled pondering, and then shifts, and then I kind of step back and go, oh, wait a minute, I have to read that again because I didn't actually, it wasn't now me writing it. It came from somewhere else. So this is a message from Asha, who we've heard from before, about just the energy of right now. I know I'm pretty sure, because it's been a minute. In my last post, I mentioned like things are moving fast now. Like September was a blink. October was fast, but like in a different kind of way, not as like, whoa, maybe a slow blink, like a cat blink. Because it was, at least for me, and energetically, it was kind of a look, and they'll get into that here a little bit, but it was kind of a taste of the energy that we'll be moving into next year. They get into a little bit of numerology just in order to, they don't normally care about like quantifying or labeling or categorizing or anything like that, but when times are moving like this, it can be helpful to have something that is a distillation of the information that is more readily accessible, or like the harmonic is a little closer to where we are, so that we can have it to then lift us up, instead of it being like super abstract and like I said, these we've experienced, they're dense messages. So sometimes they like to take something and give it in a form where it's like, hey, and then you can go down like a rabbit hole later and really look up some of this stuff and see if it resonates or if it helps. So that's kind of the energy of what this is. But October, rolling back before I took my little tangent, October was a taste kind of what 2026 is ushering in, and 2026 is a one frequency, and one frequencies are new beginnings. And as an Aries, I'm like, yes, we love the one frequency. 2025 is a 9. So for those of you who feel like you might be having trouble getting things off the ground, there's a reason for that, because they're not meant to get off the ground inside of old energy. We're clearing, we're reevaluating, we're making space for the bigger dreams and the higher octave frequency expressions of those. And most of those dreams will be, they'll be bigger than one person, and that's on purpose, because we're meant to come back into community with each other you know, talking to each other, engaging, interacting with each other from a place of curiosity, and that sense of when you bump into somebody and you feel like you've met them before, and you can talk for hours, but you only just met, like learning how to feel into those resonances, and trusting in them, because we are meant. Oh, he's on the move. He's on if this whole operation falls down, it will be because a cat, who we always joke, he happens to be in a cat body, but he's not really very cat-like inside that body. He's just having a bath now. Shift in position and is very precarious. He also lays in really weird positions. If he's still there when I'm done this, I'll take a picture and tack it on the end, because it really is cute. Yes, I'm talking about you. Okay, so they move into the energy of November specifically, and this is we're in that 11/11 energy, and November is an 11 month when coupled with the energy of this year. So this is very much a time of review. Everything's in retrograde, so we're reviewing all of it, but from a higher perspective. Hopefully we're able to, anything that comes up now that you feel is like, why is this happening again, or why is this like a thing again, take it as a sign that you're finally ready to move on from, release once and for all, dissolve out those patterns that kind of call those challenges to you. And 11s are there, it's challenging. So I'm just gonna get right into it before I just talk for like a whole half an hour before we start. So they started, so the dream was this, oh yeah, this is important. The dream was that I was on a bike and I was riding around my old neighborhood, which ironically I live in again now. So it was at night, and I was riding my bike, and I was riding by a house that friends of mine own, but like friends from another time period in my life, like literally feels like another lifetime. And I rode by, and there were a ton of people, like just kind of sitting around, sort of like, I don't know if it was a fire, but it was like there were a lot of people kind of sitting around in a circle, and some of them were people from that time in my life. Some of them were kind of in shadow. I didn't know who they were offhand. And I remember in the dream feeling like it felt like a little culty, like a little like they were gathering for like a purpose of a something. And but not like in a super creepy bad way, but just kind of in an interesting way. And I was curious, so I went over, and you know, a few people were like, oh hey, it's you. And I hadn't been invited to whatever this was, but like I wasn't mad at that, and no one was mad that I like happened upon it either. So it was like one of those kinds of energies. And then it seemed like they were trying to like gather members, like I said, a little bit culty. And a kid came up to me and he was like, hey, I can't find the whole contract, but like, here's the last page where you sign. And since you seem to know everybody here already, like you could just sign it. It's fine. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to read the whole thing though, if I'm going to sign it. And eventually I hopped on my bike and left. I was like looking for tools or something, but none of them were quite right. I don't know if I'd left them there or I was expecting them to be there for me, but whatever, nothing was quite right. So I kind of like stopped. It was like, you know, you don't have to force this. You don't have to take something just to take something. You can just walk away, or ride away. So I hopped on my bike and I rode home, and I remember thinking like, wow, that was pretty easy. I don't remember the last time I've been on a bike, but like that was pretty easy to pedal and stuff. Because you know, the older you get, you think you can do these things, and you're like, oh man. And again, I'm notorious for like, hey, let's just ride a bike for like 3 miles, and then I'm dead because I didn't think it through or like prepare for it. And yeah, and then the last piece of that was kind of like, there was only one hill that was like the Huff and Puff hill, and there were acorns all over the place because I hopped off the bike to kind of look and see what it was, and then, you know, I woke up. So this is what came out of me just literally writing down the dream and kind of musing and wondering, like the acorns. I was like, oh, it's like the hill is steep because there's a lot of different roots trying to take root, and it's pushing up the ground. And it's like, for me personally, it was kind of a message of like, why don't you start with one, plant it, and then, have that steady lift instead of like oh my God, I have to like surmount this massive thing. So they started out with, there is no going back. While there may be latent gifts previously gathered inside of your before journey, there's no need to look for them. They already reside within you, and they will emerge as needed in divine timing in their fullest spectrum of divine perfection and potency. That's important. It's in there. All of these experiences that we've had, everything that we've done, we don't have to try to remember or work so hard mentally to like kind of pull it forward. It'll be there when the trigger or the activation or the opportunity, it'll be there when the time calls for it, because it's there. It doesn't have to be front and center all the time. So that's a big thing to trust moving forward. Also, there's no need to enter into another cycle of soul group contracts in order to obtain this mastery. It has already been acquired. And that was the big one. That was the essence of that dream. Like, hey, just come on back in. It was fun. You could do it again. And one of the biggest repetitive messages that I've been getting is that it's really important that while we're meant to come in back to community, back to kind of that tribal vibe of everybody working together for the greater good of the whole, and knowing that you're included in that greater good of the whole, it's important that we enter into this next phase, this next kind of elevation, as we move closer to this like truly aware, embodied spirit, divine essence experience. We have to enter into it sovereign, not entangled and interconnected in that kind of old way. We don't need contracts with anyone or anything. We need to be sovereign, and then we can move into interdependence and heterarchical, if that's a word, but like where everybody's gifts are honored and valued, and it's not about like one entity, energy, or person at the top and everybody else is lower. It's about everybody standing in that sovereignty. And then when you come together, it's like you just enhance the gifts because of your acceptance of yourself. It's reflected back to you in the acceptance that others offer to you. So yeah, no need to re-enter in. So be very mindful about what, again, especially at the tail end of this year, which is a 9, a closure year. Be very mindful about what you think you might want to start this year, especially if it feels familiar or if it is going back to something. You're going to want to take a pause and really feel into that before you enroll yourself into another cycle. And they say, of course, you may still choose to re-enter those karmic by your choice wheels, but as you make the shift into the 5D frequency spectrum, it would be of much greater benefit to you and to the whole if you instead choose to enter this vibration firmly rooted in your own sovereignty. This is where your true power lies. For from this higher octave frequency of soul truth, you are now able to come into beautiful, interdependent, heterarchical collaboration. I should have just let them say it. They say it so much nicer. Yeah, that's the crux of it. Just do you and trust in the resonance of that and what it will return back to you in the form of the harmonic reflections and collaborations. The purity of the truth tone within each singular part, as well as that of the sum total of this now unified whole, brings a crystallized integrity to whatever the shared intent is and amplifies this harmonic frequency to magnetize all that is required to bring forth its expanded manifestation. This is also what enables you to co-create directly with Source. And what we are speaking of is more than just your whole being awareness and knowingness of your already inborn source point frequency. This is the conscious choice to bring that frequency fully online as your new homeostasis breath wave of creation. So, yeah, the shared goal is the goal that's going to manifest at this time. Everything that we're moving into as a humanity collective consciousness, as well as our own little communities and groups, and even just our own personal things, it's all bigger than the one. You know, it requires the one. I know I keep futzing with my hair. I can't help it. It's all choppy and fun. Yeah, so together, but in your truth, so that we are bringing together, we are sharing our gifts and fattening a frequency of an intention, so that it can come forth in a way that far exceeds anything any one of us can do on our own. So they continue, we will now offer insight on the vibratory encodements of your month time frame delineations in order that you may find the harmonics within you that continue to move you up the spiral of your own ascension path. A sacred spiral has the capacity to spin in two directions simultaneously, depending on the lens through which it is viewed. That's very important. Sometimes this can cast an illusion of stuckness, but the truth in this offering is the creation of a still point where the breath can begin to re-regulate inside of the rippling waveforms of these incoming higher frequency tones. And then from this quiet elevation, it offers a new view of old stories. And that's the key, is looking at it. As an example, I was thinking probably like last week or something about how, oh man, I went to New York for music theater, and I really had a talent and a gift for it, and I really enjoyed doing it, but because of my ancestral blueprints and templates that were in me, when that schooling was done, I was like, I have to come home and I have to work, because work is all I know how to survive. And so I fell into a pattern that I was looking back on and been like, man, I wonder what it would have looked like if I had just gone for it, full in and not cared, if I was eating ramen noodles for a good long stretch, which I was anyway. But I think it's a rite of passage for anybody in their 20s, at least at that time. But then literally like not even a week later, I had the opportunity, again through the journaling that I do with my kind of fifth dimensional frequency, of this whole period to now, viewing it as like a training ground for where we're actually headed. Like, you come in and you think you know what you want to do and how you want to do it and what your dreams are and what your goals are, and sometimes you follow them, sometimes you follow the dreams of other people. Like, there's all of these things that happen in this time frame. But now, because of the shift that we're in and the energy we're moving into, we're actually moving into the bigger dream, the one that was like behind all of that other stuff. And so when I looked back at everything with this awareness of like, if it was a training ground, what a really smart choice I made for myself, to go into the hospitality industry and learn multitasking, to learn communication skills, to learn how to manifest abundance, to work inside of group dynamics and learning harmonics, and still performing and still being creative and still writing and bumping up against people who, like, you're in that flow of people, so you're meeting new people and then you're re-inspired. And it was a really brilliant facet to look at it. That was the pole of the other one that was like, yeah, I mean, maybe, but like, maybe it was exactly what you were supposed to do. I mean, because here you are now, and I'm cool with me now. I'm excited about what's unfolding for me now, and it's all born of like those past experiences that I've had. And they say it much more beautifully because I remember it. So I'm not gonna try to put words to it because, but if you take time this month, choosing to vibrate from kind of like this cauldron in the intelligence that sits down in your heart, solar plexus, down in here, and let it we get tangled up here. And so if we can kind of open that up a little bit and let things kind of drop and settle a little bit, what we view as kind of like, oh, we're going up to get higher wisdom, we're going outside of ourselves to get higher wisdom, you're really just going so far inside of you that the frequency is elevated to a point that gives the illusion that you're outside of yourself, but it's really like what's like in there, like prego. So we will now offer insights. Right, so sacred spiral, 2 directions. Where did I leave off? Right, November. We're looking at old stories in a new way. November as a vibration is an 11. This is a master number. And anybody for whom that's like prominent in your numerology kind of thing, like for me, it's a challenging number, because you came here to step into mastery specifically. I mean, we all did, but specifically 11 vibrates like that high contrast, and then collapsing it into the oneness. So this master number is encouraging you to take one last look back on the high contrast experiences had within the duality matrix, particularly those that arose within the past 5-ish years. Challenges met during this time frame were designed to trigger choice point alarm frequencies to begin shaking your human collective out of its snooze cycle. They are the flames of your inner phoenix dusted over with the ashes of your brilliant self-alchemization. They love their zization words. Yeah, so anything that's happening now, it's like you kind of have to thank yourself. As souls, we put in these little fail-safes. Oh, you wandered a little too long. Like, the scenic route is kind of the point. It's the human experience the human experience isn't about getting from point A to B like as fast as you possibly can. What's the point? But sometimes we can get a little too windy, or we can take a detour and get way off track. And we have fail safes built in to kind of like lift us and drop us back on, and they don't always feel great. They don't always feel great, depending on like how far you strayed from the initial kind of soul blueprint beyond what we've been kind of conditioned as far as the karmic blueprints. And me personally, as I've evolved and done a lot of this work on myself with other people, for me, I don't think that karma is a thing that is like set, it's done, you come in here with it. I think it's more and more it's been revealing itself to be something that we choose. But the higher wisdom in it is that we rolled ourselves out into similar, it's like the light version, like LITE, light version of the old stuff that the soul has already, those paths we've already traversed in other lifetimes, other worlds, other experiences, so that we would have trigger points that would awaken the memory and the mastery. So it's like we wrote it in not as something you have to atone for or make up for or unravel in the sense that it's like wrong and bad, but more like, hey, like we put a bunch of stuff in place to kind of wake you out of your forgetting. And some of it is going to be challenging, but it's not because you did something wrong in another life or because you're on a cycle of, yes, you can be on a cycle of something. But there's a choice in continuing, and what happens, and they say it later, the more you're on it, the more it kind of waters itself down or exacerbates. And then you have that kind of like in tarot, we call it the tower moment, where there's a collapse that has to happen. But a lot of times it gets watered down because the awakening starts to happen as certain things get like re-triggered. Or if you're like, I don't understand like an obvious example would be like, oh, I have shoulder pain, but I've never injured my shoulder. That's weird. It's not. There's something there that requires kind of like shaking out in order that you can remember, because there's mastery in whatever that root is that would be valuable to you now in this iteration of an embodied expression. So yeah, that was like a little karma tangent, but I think it's important that I found it very helpful. It's important to understand that you don't have any karma. You choose. At this stage of our evolution, if you have it, you're choosing it, and it's easy to unchoose at this point. Again, everything's shifting and moving so fast. It will be as complicated or as smooth as you decide. And there's no wrong way. Only your own awareness unraveling into your own deeper, higher truth. Right, Phoenix, ashes. So, October, my favorite month of the year so far, if we're being honest, because October offered you all a taste of what is available in the new year based on your then current source point frequency, homeostasis, harmonic. It came in under the influence of that adventurous one frequency, and this is the overarching vibratory tone of 2026. It is the initiation of a brand new beginning, a new chapter, a whole new book. It is already aligning on your behalf and on behalf of the whole of humanity, and ready or not, it is time to claim it. And that's important too. Like, we can learn as we go, but it's important to like choose it, to claim it, so that you can start stepping into the unknown and laying down the new pathway instead of tumbling back on old hamster wheels. But before you can take hold from the vantage point of the energy of that first taste offered, a chance to take that last lingering look in contemplation. And that is November. We have that taste in October of like, ooh, this feels good. This feels like what it could be. And then from that frequency, then look back. And there's like, when you're in a good place and you're in a higher frequency perch, there's a softness to your lens that is a little harder to come by when you're like down in the trenches. So take advantage of those frequencies to really take a looky-see. Many of the planets in your solar system are in retrograde motion. They are holding space for you all to reflect, review, and reevaluate everything. Feel into what resonates as your higher soul truth and release anything that rings in discord up against this truth. And the easiest way to kind of validate that for yourself is to tune into your body. Your body can't lie. So how does it feel when you think about doing whatever it is? And if there's like a little effervescence and a little bubbling, then that's worth exploring and trying and following. But if there's any kind of like, because I've mentioned before, my knees will get a thing. Some people it's their gut, or it's like you instantly get a headache. Some of that might be resistance towards the task at hand, but for this month, it's likely going to be more like an offering, an opportunity for you to ask yourself why. Like, oh, this makes sense, and somebody asked me if I wanted to do this, and I should probably do this. No part of me wants to do this. Why? Is it because I'm scared and it's like something that's unknown or whatever? Or is it because I just don't want to do it? It's just something that I feel like I should because it makes sense, la-la, cha-la-la. Really look into those and start making choices for you that reflect your truth. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It only matters how you feel. Right, reevaluate everything. Feel into what resonates as your higher soul truth and release anything that rings in discord up against this truth. Yep, they had me say it again. It's that important. Think of it as a contrast point to validate and clarify both who you were with reverence and gratitude and who you are becoming with curiosity and excitement. Once again, there is no going back. Open all the old files and hard drives within, scan for intel, the lessons, the love, the gifts, scan for the viruses, shame, guilt, fear, and regret, and move them into the trash bin for final deletion. All of your big dreams, individually and collectively, have been waiting for this space to free up so they can finally download from the quantum field and root in the beautiful new reality you co-create with each other and with Source. I'm just going to let that sit for a second while I take a sip of water. Okay. Moving on. Those who already hold the 11 vibration in their soul blueprint know that this energy supports the alchemization of hard lessons into gold, and they really do. The rewards, the challenges are stiffer, but the rewards are bigger because of it. So take advantage of that too. If you're up against something challenging, it's because, I use this word loosely, but it's because you're worthy of it. You've met the frequency requirements to be like, oh hey, let's okay, all right, challenge accepted. So when challenges re-present themselves to you this month, try to see them from a new angle, the angle of opportunity, and know that you are innately hardwired to prevail. You are the acorn. Everything you need to become the mighty oak exists within you. It is encoded in your very DNA. You simply need to wake it up. These last look challenges do just that. They are the final wake-up call, and this call is coming from inside of the house. It must be and can only be answered by you. You cannot release what you cannot face. We would like to clarify that we are not speaking of reliving any past trauma, and that includes like talking about it, like you don't have to go back into the old pictures. We're not speaking of reliving any past trauma, for this would not be helpful and only further amplify those shadow frequencies. If you go back in, then you're making it real again over and over again. That's why sometimes talk therapy isn't always the best for everybody, because most of these frequencies kind of live in your being, in your body anyway. So if you pay attention and you start to nurture and unravel and just move the energy through and take note of like how it shaped or changed how you behave and respond and react in the world, what patterns did it set up, those are where the mastery lay. I always get those confused, but that's where the wisdom is in what that unrolled for you, how that path started to open up for you because of the trauma. That's where the actual alchemization and the healing can really occur, because then you can kind of, as you move those out of your energy field, your subtle body, your physical body, that's where you start to vibrate a little differently, and it washes clean the backstory when it's not vibrating from within you anymore. And again, you don't have to relive it in order to do that. I think it's important to make that an option that is known. Yeah, we are suggesting that you face the patterns and the behaviors and reflections that were born of trauma. These are the tributaries that continue to feed its source, which is the trauma, while depleting the main artery of life force energy. And once again, as October was the initiation of the initiation, November is here on the wings of that vibratory pulse to clear space for the bolder breakthrough, which just feels so cool. Just liberating at its like kind of highest frequency available to us. As we look ahead, we can offer that December will lift the humanity collective into the 3 vibration, and everyone will have an opportunity to play inside of that quantum field, that space between breaths, between where you started and where you are headed, who you were and who you are becoming. This is where your magic lies. It's potent waiting. At this juncture, timelines as you see them, because from their frame of reference, it's not even timelines anymore. It's just breath waves of experience that either continue on or fizzle out or dissolve. Like it's beyond linear, and we're headed in that direction. But however you need to visualize for yourself to kind of collapse inward and fatten what you want to be your home frequency is the right way for you to do it. No one, like, we are authorities of ourselves, our own truths and our own knowing, and we can share it in hopes that it will help someone else. And if it resonates, cool, but no single one of us is an authority on like all of it. We can only offer what we know from our experience. So I always try to remind anybody who's viewing this, take what resonates and leave the rest. Like, that's what it's all about. That's what this experience is finding resonance. So yeah, timelines as you see them, they're going to begin crystallizing through your own weaving of and through them. And that's important to really like lock in. That which you root in fear will project and reflect fear. So if that's what you choose, that's what you're going to actively help co-create, because brain loves to prove itself right. So it's time for us to give it a new story to look for validation of. And that's part of the co-creation. That which you root in love will open the door to a whole new Eden. And that's how they gave it to me. And not so much in a biblical sense, but in like a lushness, almost like a new Lemuria kind of vibe, where everything is lush and verdant and rooted in love. That's I mean, it sounds so simplistic, but that's the truth of it. That which you root in love will open the door to a whole new Eden, lush with the projections and reflections born of this love. During this period of transition, which will be from now until around April 2026, we also see a smattering of waffling timeline trajectories. These will split off from both the old fear matrix and the new Eden choice point. They are a retraining ground for those of you still choosing to linger a bit longer inside of the resistance frequency. These offshoots will serve to soften the calluses of what is comfortable and known, with shimmers of synchronicity and serendipity that allow for curiosity to begin overriding the fear frequency. The intention being, and one of your own creation, to ultimately spark the impetus to begin the migration to higher vibrational ground. Ultimately, however, it will be your, you singular, choice. Comfort can create a callousing that keeps you from evolving. And so we're in a period where it's all uncomfortable, and it's time to kind of lean in and soften those. I mean, you could shave them off or whatever, like that's a little harsher, or you could soften them, put them in a nice little soak, so that they start to just open. And it's okay if they feel a little soft at first. But it is important to allow yourself to follow the flickers and the shimmers. Curiosity, I've been discovering for myself, when you're in fear, when you're in depression, when you're in lower frequency spectrums, and again, I encourage you not to judge yourself for it or anybody else for it, because every truth is real, every truth is valid, everybody's experience is their experience, and we can't take that away from them or need it to not be that. We only have autonomy over our own. So it's really, it's okay if you're still in a tween. If you catch glimmers and it's exciting, and then you feel like you're tumbling back and you're over here, the awareness is going to be sharper and sharper every time you choose to lean into and trust love over fear. And it is it's always your choice. But yeah, curiosity, I found, is a really good gateway, because when you're in the lower frequencies, that's what I was starting to say. When you're in the lower frequencies, you're in that kind of mental thickness and haze and fog. You don't want to hear about abundance and manifestation and love, and like you're not in a place where you can receive it because everything is like cloudy, the illusion is too thick. But if you move into curiosity, those are like little pinpricks of light that start to diffuse the fog a little bit. And each time those little pinpricks come in, they create larger openings and larger openings, and then finally you can start to like catch bigger glimmers and bigger synchronicities. So play with curiosity. I've talked about it before, the oh my god, what if this happens, what if this happens? But if you simply change the resonance of that what if to oh my god, what if this happens? Like, what if all of your what ifs were like, oh my god, what if? How is this going to happen? Instead of, oh my god, I don't even know how this is going to happen, it just seems too much, I wonder how it's going to happen. It's so exciting that I don't know. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's hard in the beginning to do it, but as you let yourself have it, even if it's a single breath, if it's a single thing in a day that you lean in for a millisecond, it starts the retraining. And then eventually you're able to hold space for your own self to expand your heart space and receive the harmonics that reflect that light within you. Yeah, so this is why it is so important to lean into November as the soul review that it offers. Really important. Don't try to rush anything this month. It's not going to end well if you do. Just lean into the retrograde. Find it amusing. Anything that backpedals or cancels or whatever it is. Sometimes it's like, I always say, oh, a student canceled today. Oh, cool. I can work on my music now for that hour instead. Like, try to find the light and the opportunity. I think that's the key to this overarching message, is use this month to see opportunity where you would have been like, oh man, like bummed out. Right, because you want to finally move beyond the repeat cycles of the lower timeline experiences, and you can do so by really leaning into the review. During this time, we encourage you to, and this is what they said so beautifully, and hug it into your heart, like close, imprint it. During this time, we encourage you to look with love on the brave soul who so willingly blazed this trail before you now, from deep within the throes of forgetting, in order that you could finally remember. To kind of jump in blind and just go for it, so that we can all be at this point of remembering and awakening and lifting and shifting all of those past versions of you, parallel versions of you, whatever versions, multidimensional versions of you. You gotta just line them up and give them a round of applause, give them a heartfelt thank you, and a hug, because you're all in this together. So there's no shame on past experiences, only just kind of like reverence for the courage that it took to move through with less knowledge and awareness than you have now. So in the spirit of review, we will offer another reminder to choose fear as your homeostasis point of creation moving forward is to call forth a timeline that supports that vibration. It will place you back into the rinse and repeat cycle of old stories and programming until they have finally watered themselves down enough for you to find another point of light that will open up the higher vibrational timeline throughway. I mean, ultimately, we're all headed to the same place. How you get there is up to you. But whatever is initiated inside of the one frequency of 2026 will usher in a whole new epoch of humanity, both individually and collectively. It is the fresh start you all ache for, and it begins with each one of you going deep within your own inner worlds so that they may metamorphosize and begin to reflect as the new outer world reality matrix. It's not about saving the world. It's about going in and saving yourself, so that that light comes online, and then the world will start to shift around each one of us that is willing to do that. April 2026, will be the turning point. For those of you already opting out of the fear matrix and choosing love, you will find yourselves in pole position to make a brilliant quantum leap. For those of you still quite literally on the fence, this numerological 5 energy will catalyze a big and necessary change. Depending on your level of then currently held resistance, this change may come in the form of an outright collapse. Again, the Tower card in tarot. It only falls on what's outworn and outdated. So it's already, but this change, this leap, it's already encoded through your own breathwave frequencies. It's already encoded to take whatever form your soul wrote in as a failsafe to create the necessary ground zero frequency spectrum in order that you may begin not again, but anew. So that ground zero can be a plot you cleared for yourself to make a beautiful garden, or it can be like, you know, collapse. Again, it's up to us, each one of us, how we want to move this and move with this energy. Leaning in allows you to kind of step into your power a little more and co-create, finding harmonics that work with and make the shift a little smoother. Ignoring, resisting, insisting, all of those things are gonna make it a little more challenging. So trust in the unknown for sure, and lean into curiosity. And it's okay to not know. Think of it as part of the fun. Like, little kids don't know anything and they're so excited to learn, but also they're so excited to do it anyway. You know what I mean? They don't know about failure yet, so they just play. And that will serve us well as a collective during this time between now and particularly April. However this shift occurs for you, both within and without, trust in the flow, for it will open humanity into the initiatory state of its beautiful unknown, its collective quantum gap. Some will leave this gap to return to what is known and continue to play out old narratives on lower timelines. You must allow and accept that. The only choice that matters here is your own, for it is all part of the human experience, and it all leads to the same place, a return to love. So take November in stride, allow your dark edges to meet the light of your own divinity. This synergetic merging is what will create the pulse point of power for the launch of great leaps, both individually and for the whole of humankind. We leave you now in love, for you are love. And that was from Asha. Yeah, and also the image, I forget the name of it, the Japanese art of gluing things back together with gold. So where our edges, where our dark edges, or to quote K-pop Demon Hunters, the jagged edges meet the light, that's where the magic is, where you can let the light softly settle in, and that convergence happens, that creates a new wholeness with all of that mastery learned and gained and taken in from that shattering. You're together anew. It's not that you can go back, it's that you move forward from that space. So yeah, I will leave you with that. Have a beautiful month. Just relax into it. It's, you know, we're beginning eating season. It's food season for us Italians. So just relax, and choose you, and know that is the absolute best that you can do, and it will yield really, really good results from you, because you're not choosing you from like a narcissistic, self-centered way. You're choosing you so that you can be the best you, and that is the you that this world needs at this time. So yeah, have a beautiful month. Maybe I'll see you again. Maybe I'll do a card pull mid-month or something, or I'll see you next month. It's unknown, and I'm rolling with it. All right, I love you guys. Take care.